Time ticks and drips away, days burn, disintegrate, years roll along and fade, don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today, these are the good old days. Right here, right now, today, hey, these are the good old days.
In 1984, when George Lucas was winding down the Star Wars run and telling Kenner to take a break from Star Wars toys, Kenner had to replace Star Wars, the action figure juggernaut, with something else. And so they turned their attention to DC Comics and released the 1984 Kenner's Superpowers collection. These toys, and I don't use this word flippantly, were perfect. They looked just like they popped off the comic book page. They all had unique action features which mimicked their powers, and these toys were just a ton of fun. They only lasted for 3 short years, and then they were gone. But there isn't a vintage toy collection out there that wouldn't benefit from the popping colors and dynamic sculpts of the Superpowers collection. They are probably one of, if not my favorite toys of my childhood. So today we're going to look at 5 of my favorite characters: Superman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Aquaman, and Hawkman, and give them a little facelift. We're going to make them some brand new accessories and get them back on the shelf.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers collection. Impossible! The Hall of Justice under attack, Batman behind bars.
Here's the trapdoor, Batman!
Brainiac's taken over the computer, Joker in the elevator, evil forces joining for a final assault. Who can restore order?
Superman!
Can Superman save the Hall of Justice? You decide. New from Kenner's Superpowers collection, Hall of Justice playset. Some assembly required, vehicles and figures sold separately.
Alright, and here's the figures we're going to look at. We've got Superman here, and he's action still works, and he's just missing his cape. So these figures are great. Yeah, lots of power punch left in him. He just needs a cape. He'll be looking good. We've also got here a Hawkman. Again, Hawkman, his wings still work. He's still looking a little sharp. Just the colors on these just pop up crazy. He's missing his mace, so we're going to make him with his mace. We've got the Aquaman figure here. Still got that swimming action. Yeah, super cool. He has no trident, so we're going to make him a trident. And we've got the Green Lantern here. So his action feature's not working great. Kind of works slowly. But he needs a power battery Green Lantern accessory, so we're going to make him that up. And then we have, this is one of the best looking figures ever, this Green Arrow figure. But he needs an arrow and bow, and so we're going to make up his stuff first. We're going to start with the Green Arrow. Like I say, he needs his bow and his arrows. Let's go to our 3D space and see if we can't make one up. His bow was later reused, slightly modified for Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. So I took a picture of my Robin Hood Prince of Thieves bow, and that's going to be our basis to start. Alright, and here's the bow, and I think it turned out real great, and his arrows as well. There they are, and they may look a little short, but that's because they have to do 2 things. They got to fit in the bow, and they also got to fit in the quiver. So they were a little bit short looking, but that's just part of the charm of the figure. Now the last thing we're going to look at is, this should just pop right in there and snap in place. Beautiful. Now we could just leave it like this, but it also had a string on it. The original one had a string. So I thought what we could use for a string is on the 3D printer, the extruder here, that's where the material comes out. I'm just going to run some through as if I was changing the color, and so it's going to come out like this, and it's kind of in a liquidish form, and I'm just going to, oh, it's sticking here. Oh, no, I'm making this. Oh! There we go. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit, see if I can't get a long straight piece. There we go. That'll be good. Yeah, so here's all the stuff that came out, but here's that long straight piece that is cooled down now. And I'm just gonna trim it here so it is the right length. And then with the notches we put in the end of the bow, should be able to just string it through, trim it off, and we'll get that bowstring. I think this is gonna work out real good. Yeah, so I'm just gonna bring it down here, notch it in the notches that I left. Oh, beautiful. Yep, I'm just gonna trim it off here with my scissors, and that looks fantastic. So there's Green Arrow's bow and arrows. Alright, next up is Hawkman, and again he just needs his mace. So let's head to our 3D space and see if we can't make one up. Alright, and here's his mace, and I think it looks fantastic. That worked out really nice, and it should just fit real snug in his hand here. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. Now he's ready for the shelf. Alright, moving on, we now have the Green Lantern, so we're going to go to our 3D space and make up his Green Lantern power battery. Alright, and here's his Green Lantern power battery lantern. And yeah, I think it worked out really well. That was a fun little build, and I think it works. It looks just like the vintage piece. That's excellent. All right, and then moving on, next we have Aquaman, king of the oceans here, but he needs a trident to rule. So we're going to go into our 3D space and make him up a trident. Alright, now here's the trident we made up, and I think it worked and came out just great. And he just should fit in his hand here. Beautiful. Now the problem with this trident though is displaying him, holding it, he's just always wailing on people and knocking things over. So I actually made a second trident, as you saw, and I put a little handle on it halfway down with the hopes that he could hold that handle and then he'd be able to be displayed holding his trident in an upright position. That makes him easier for display and looks a little more kingly. So that's great. Now we have Superman. So Superman here is missing his cape, so we have to make him a new one. So first thing we're going to do is just get a piece of paper and make up a template for a cape for him. So we're just going to lay him down here. We're going to measure out and draw like a blueprint. And so you want to kind of see where your shoulders are going to be. The end of the cape needs to go kind of just below his knees, but above his boots. And you want it to have a certain amount of swing to it. So we're going to drop this template and then cut it out. And then tape it to some of that lightweight athletic gear t-shirts that we like to make our capes out of. And then cut that out. Alright, now that we have the cape made up, the next thing we're going to do is kind of sew the little tube at the top. Now because I can sew, but I'm not a great sewer, I use this clip to help me keep a straight line without me sewing all over the place. So we're going to sew a little channel here for the collar, and then, just like the ones we made up for our Batman capes, we're going to go to our 3D space and make up some of those Kenner like neck clips. since we have that made up now, we're just gonna feed that into the channel that kind of we made for it. And once we have that in, we're just gonna sew up the two sides and just let that clip can't come out, and we should be set to go here. Superpower's cape iconically had that yellow S on the back of the cape. And so I'm going to go to the Cricut design space and I'm going to design up a little Superman emblem for the back. And then I'm going to Cricut that out of t-shirt transfer material. And once that's done, I'm just going to size it down here. And then I Cricketed those out here, so I made a couple of them. And I'm just going to weed out the excess stuff, and we should have our emblem ready to go. Alright, now I'm just going to take a black t-shirt and cover it so that there's not too much heat right on this athletic material. And I'm going to iron that emblem into place. Once that's done, we should be all set to go here. I won't take a small little piece, I wouldn't take a lot of heat. We'll just peel the backing off. Gently, not to ruin that emblem. And I think, there we go. Oh, that looks great. Alright, I think our cape is ready. Let's go grab Superman. So here's our hero, here's his cape. I'm just going to snap it onto him here. And I think that looks fantastic.
Go. There's our restoration of 5 Superpowers figures. If you like what we did today, if you're having as much fun as we are, hit like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video, or at RonCon, or JoeFest.